Chairman Scott, for this hearing. I hadn't been in this business long, but I've noticed shortcomings of shipbuilding since I've been on this committee and Armed Services Committee. We build components for submarines, the Columbia class and the Virginia class at Austell and Mobile. Probably most of you know that. It's pretty new to us, but I've noticed the recruiting, as the Senator was alluding to, workforce. I know Austell has gone out and gone through fast food joints and everything else trying to find welders and people that can actually work and understand it. So it's an ongoing process. Admiral Weeks, how does this module production support your goal of increasing submarine construction rates?
Sir, thank you for that question. So as we look at the constrained capacity in our primary build yards, it's really important that we recognize that broadening that shipbuilding industrial base, or the shipbuilding base beyond those 2 yards, is really the opportunity we need to be able to, again, bring more folks to bear, bring different geographical regions to bear, and alleviate the strain on our primary yards. Right? And that will then allow them to do most efficiently what only they can do, which is things like outfitting, final assembly, and testing. So
have we seen an increase in production by doing this?
Yes, sir. Yes. Sir, it has been, anytime you put something new in a new facility that's not done that kind of work before, you expect that it's going to take a little bit of time to come up to speed. And that's exactly what's happening. But we are now, especially with Austell, we've been on the path long enough now that we're starting to see the improvement that we expected. And both Admiral Rucker and I have been down to Austell multiple times, partnering with both Electric Boat and the company there to make sure that they're on track to get where they need to be, and they're doing well. Yes, sir.
Yeah. You think it'll help us catch up with the Chinese and their expansion of their submarines? They're flying past us. You think it's going to be possible for this type of procedure to really help catch the Chinese?
Yes, sir. I think it's absolutely critical that we expand our industrial base. That is the only way we're going to be able to compete. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Admiral Rucker. What can the Navy and Congress do to accelerate outsourcing of modular production?
Thank you for the question, sir. I agree with everything Admiral Weeks said and the importance of outsourcing. Where we stand today, we have a goal by 2026 to get up to about 7 million man-hours annually. That's equivalent of a surface ship destroyer from our submarine yards out to the industrial base. As of end of 2024, we were at about 3 million hours, so we're about halfway there. As Admiral Weeks said, we've been down to Austell. They've already delivered the first 2 large submodules for Virginia class. They've got 3 more they're working right now. The next one's going to be delivering this summer, and then they keep on going. We need that strategic outsourcing to increase the overall capability and capacity for large structural fabrication, machining, electrical. So we're going to continue to work with the shipbuilders to ensure that we can execute that efficiently and effectively.
Admiral Moten, any thoughts on strategic outsourcing as a method to increase our shipyard output?
Yes, Senator, I completely agree with my colleagues on the importance. I think it's a critical part of our strategy to, as you say, to improve our pace of shipbuilding. I would note in the example of Austell, the aircraft elevators for CVN 80 and 81 are both being built there as well. So we've done that closer to Hampton Roads. Outsourcing has been an important part of Newport News shipbuilding strategy to improve on aircraft carrier production. They've gone to several suppliers to help with construction of modules, including a site just across the river in the Hampton and Roads area that's focused on adding real estate and the ability to do panels more quickly to support our carrier shipbuilding. So I agree, it's critical.
Now, visiting Austell, I've noticed that, especially in submarines, nickel is a huge part of very important parts of the submarine. And our supply chain there, any 3 of you, can you give an update on, do we have a better supply of nickel now? Is it getting worse? Because we don't have a lot of nickel in our country. Anybody want to answer it? Mr. Sermon?
Yes, sir. Thank you for the question. Nickel, is, as you point out, sir, is among the fundamental metals and alloys that we're continuing to work with OSD, Office of Secretary of Defense, to take a very careful look at and address as you pointed out, we do continue to have both price fluctuations, which are of course related to supply, but committed to addressing those, sir.
Thank you. Just one other question, if I could, Mr. Sherman. The Navy and Capstone Investments put $150 million each to buy land from Alabama Shipyard just recently, which is just next to Austell. Can you describe how this partnership came about and what's your plans for growing the industrial base using, this land? Do you know anything about this?
Yes, sir. I'm familiar, and thank you for the question. We talked about outsourcing, and we understand, as Admiral Rucker and Admiral Weeks pointed out, we're about 3 million hours into that outsourcing that we have to do annually. We have to get to 7. We need additional, as an enterprise, we need additional space. We need additional workforce. We need additional production. We've got a very promising work started at Austell. We've got work started at BAE in Jacksonville. We've got work started at Rhodes in Philadelphia as well that are really going to bring us into battery. But more land is needed. More waterfront land. That facility that is Alabama Shipyard, actually 60 acres of that 355 acres there will remain as in battery, maintaining our military sea lift command. Much of the rest of that, our intention in an opportunity zone, public-private partnership is to work to bring that land into battery, much like it was, that exact same land was in battery, building Liberty ships and tankers during World War II, is to bring that in battery for supply chain activities, for submarine modules, and most importantly, from my perspective, advanced manufacturing that will fundamentally teach us across the entire industrial base, the entire nation, how to build ships, unmanned vehicles, and other kinds of naval activities better and more efficiently.
Yeah, I'd love to get into the cell drone discussion, but thank you, Mr. Chairman.